Hello there and welcome to Wild Eating with the Forager Chick. Today we're going to go out here in Georgia early spring and we're going to go see what kind of goodies we can find, maybe some wild greens, and I'm trying to plan my menu for today. So let's go see what we can find out there. You ready? Okay, I was just thinking about a couple of recipes. And since I'm going to be picking some wild greens, and I also have a lion's mane mushroom in the house, I think I'm going to make lion's mane potato pancakes with greens inside them. How does that sound to y'all? Let's go see what we find anyway, and we'll go from there. Meet you in the field. I found something good. I found cleavers as my first ingredient. Let me show you what they look like. There's a whole lot going on right over here in this little patch. Before we get to the cleavers, we'll pick this out of the way. There's some purple dead nettle. Do you remember us talking about this last time on our last episode? This is also one of the edibles. But if you want, watch episode 1 and you'll learn more about it. So in here we also have some wild geranium. We're not going to be using that. That's not an edible, but it is a medicinal. So right here, you see this weed? Right here. This is cleavers. It's also called sticky weed. They go all the way around this stem, kind of like in a whorled pattern. And this is a really good edible. It's also a good medicinal. So we're going to gather a few of these and see what else we can find. Isn't it beautiful, though? Cleavers. Of course, we need violets. Always need violets. Aren't they beautiful? Finding a few different kinds here. Here's purple violet. There we go. Flowers are delicious. Yum, 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 yum. We're going to add those to our salad. So as you can see right here in front of me, we have a beautiful spring flower. This is forsythia. Isn't it gorgeous? So this one blooms right now, early spring, usually February, March, and it is an edible flower. And this also blooms during morel season. So you can mix this up a little bit with another flower, which is Carolina jessamine. So just know that this flower pretty much has 4 petals. I just noticed on one of them that it had 5, so that was kind of a little bit shocking. I thought they all had 4. But Carolina jessamine is a bell-shaped flower. This is not a bell-shaped flower. As you can see, it's a regular flower. See that? Let me get a better picture for you. Here's some more. So I'm going to gather just a few of these, maybe a dozen or so, and put them on our wild salad that we're going to make. Let's see what else we can find. It's raining now, so I gotta hurry. I have another one for you. Did you know that maple trees are edible? Now, yeah, of course, we all know about the maple syrup, which is totally freaking amazing, but we can't get good maple syrup here in Georgia. Those trees are up north, like Vermont and New Hampshire and those areas. But the maple key seeds are edible. Let me show you. So looking at the tree, we have these little red keys. These are one of the first trees to start blooming. So you really can't mix up the maple keys with anything. And the tree, to identify it, they have opposite branches. Can you see that here? The branches are opposite each other. All the way up, all the way down. They look like little Ys. Kind of like ash trees. But the keys, these little keys, are edible. See that seed? Super tiny. I don't know if you could see it. You would need a bunch, of course, but the seeds are edible raw, or some people roast them. So, of course, pick some, but don't, pick them all from the same branch, because then you won't have any leaves. These are what make the leaves. So pick a few from different branches, and this way you can get a taste. But we have plenty of maple trees here. Isn't it beautiful? I just love it. Here's some of the beautiful goodness we have in the basket so far. I have some cleavers, which is also known as sticky weed. We have our maple keys, some Oregon grapefruit berries, forsythia flowers, and I'm going to start collecting a couple of violets. Aren't they pretty? Hello everybody, so we're back from foraging and I have to show you all the really cool things that we got today. But first I wanted to show you something. This is a lion's mane mushroom and it was not on camera because somebody brought this to me about 2 days ago. It was bigger than this. I mean, I literally had like 4 pounds of lion's mane. So I shared it with friends and I'm going to use this lion's mane mushroom today to make lion's mane potato pancakes. And we're going to use some of the wild greens that we found today. So if you can see on this mushroom, you see it has like little teeth, little spines. So that's what they have instead of gills. And these can be rather large. Like I said, this one was like over 4 pounds, maybe even 5 pounds, and it was very large in a tree. So this right here, see the other side, you can see it. It's like almost like spongy, but you can use lion's mane mushroom as a seafood substitute for the most part, but it'll be great in the potato pancakes, I promise you that. So we're going to clean this one up and chop it up. This is about a little over 8 ounces, so that's about the amount we're going to use for the recipe. And then the greens, I put them on this beautiful plate. What do you think about that? So some of these were picked and I showed you what they were. And then I found a few more. But it was raining so hard, so I was just like picking and running as I was going. So the first thing I picked were these cleavers. You pull one apart. So cleavers are one of the early spring greens, and they tend to cleave to you. So you can see them right here. Zoom a little closer. And on each stem, you have the leaves that go all the way around the stem. There's about 5 to 6 leaves that go all the way around the stem. Can you see that? So they're whorled all the way around. And those are cleavers. So cleavers, they stick. I mean, literally, they stuck to my hair, so it's going to be in my hair now. So cleavers are a good spring herb to help you with the lymphatic system, clean out the lymphatic system, move the fluid throughout, but it's also a good edible. I don't particularly like it raw. I like it cooked because it's so much better that way, especially because it has that little texture, like a Velcro texture. So we're going to use that in our recipe with the potato pancakes. And we also have some chickweed because chickweed is always my favorite little weed. And I have more. I picked some yesterday and I have some here today too. So we're going to use the chickweed in the recipe as well.
And I do have another video on just chickweed. I probably have like 3 videos on chickweed, so I'll like link them up top too. And so those 2 things are definitely going to go into potato pancakes. I also thought about using a little bit of shepherd's purse. So I found this on the way out. Shepherd's purse is kind of peppery, so we're going to use it instead of pepper. And if you could see on each stem, they look like little hearts. Can you see that? I'll do a close-up of it too. But they look like little hearts. And each of these little pods can be a little bit spicy and peppery. So I think we're going to use that instead of pepper. And then, of course, we had our little bitty keys from the maple tree. Look like little whirligigs, little helicopters. So we're not going to use these today, but you can eat the seeds. They are edible. And I'm going to look into a recipe because I think I might go ahead and pickle these. I think that would be really good. I also found some violets in 3 different colors. We have the blue violet, the white violet, and the purple violet. So I'm going to make a salad to go along with these lion's mane potato pancakes, and we're going to decorate it with our flowers. And then, of course, we had the forsythia blooms, and they're right here. And we're going to put those on our salad. Then I also found some henbit. This is henbit. So those beautiful purple flowers. I talked about this in the last video when we were talking about purple dead nettle, and I believe I showed you the henbit as well. So sometimes they can look alike, but with henbit, the leaves clasp the stem. The name of the plant is Lamium amplexicaulis, and amplexicaulis means to clasp the stem. But the purple dead nettle that we showed last time, that one is also a Lamium, but it's Lamium purpureum. So, but it's okay if you mix them up because they are both edible, but this one tastes a little better. And then, of course, we had our last ones, the Oregon grapefruit berries, and I may have picked these a little bit early, so I'm not sure. This is a first for me, and we're going to see what we could do with these guys. I might try to sweeten them up, make a jelly, or since they are a little bit sour and tart, maybe I'll use them in the salad dressing. But yes, those are all our goodies. I also picked some chives from the garden, because you need to have a little bit of onions in our potato pancakes. And, of course, we'll top our pancakes with sour cream. I might even use some of the chives in that. So I'm going to go ahead and chop up this lion's mane, grate a potato, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I started chopping, so you didn't have to see all the chopping going on. I chopped up about 1/4 cup of onion. Probably should get it just a little bit smaller. I did it kind of chunky. My husband doesn't really like onions, so I always try to sneak them in there. And if they cut up nice and tiny, then he doesn't even know that they're in there, and it gives it some good flavor. But like I said, I am going to add some of the chives too, because I really love the taste of chives. There we go. I think those are good. And then I chopped up almost all of that lion's mane that I showed you. It was looking a little bit big, so I'm like, I don't think I need that much. And all I'm doing is cutting them into little tiny pieces, like chunks, little small chunks. And as you can see, they have the little spines mixed in there too. So chop it all up. And then right here, I have 2 cloves of garlic. So what I'm going to do in my cast iron skillet, I'm going to put a little bit of olive oil. Just a little bit. I'm going to put my onions in there. And my mushrooms. And get that all in there. And then we're going to put in the garlic. And I'm going to take it over to the stove. And I'm going to cook it for about 8 to 10 minutes. It's going to reduce down, so you see it now. It's going to reduce down. I'll show you in a minute what we're going to do. So as you can see, the lion's mane is reducing down, and it's letting out some of the water from the mushroom, and then it'll reabsorb back in there. But you can see how much it's reduced already. Goodness, it smells great. So about halfway there. And then we're going to add our greens in. So meanwhile, while our mushrooms and onions and garlic are cooking, I'm going to shred up our potatoes. These are some really large potatoes, so I don't know if this is going to be too much. It's been a while since I made some potato pancakes. But I've already peeled them, and we're going to go ahead and grate them. And I'm going to wind up sticking them in some cold water while we're waiting for everything else to cook.
potatoes are flying everywhere. And I'm using russet potatoes. I'm supposed to use russet potatoes so that they're not as creamy. They hold up a little bit better for making the potato pancakes. Worked out a lot yesterday. My arm's hurting a little bit. It's funny. We were carrying some weights back and forth. We carried 55-pound weight like this. So my arms are a little sore. And some 25-pound weights on our shoulders. All right, I never get to the butt end of it. And get that later. Do some more.
So today was really nice going out foraging. Even though it was rainy, I kind of like that when it's just like a little bit drizzly. Just go out with me and my pup. And I like to go out almost every day. You never know what you're going to find out there. I found a lot today. I could have picked more if I needed to. All right. Ooh. Just going to stick it over here in the water for a minute. Because we don't want, when sometimes if you leave potatoes out, they'll start turning colors. We want nice white potatoes. Almost done. This really takes no time at all. I like easy food. Sometimes I'll make some harder things, but there we go. Potatoes are even on the floor. Put that down. Okay. Those in there. Clean up my board. I'm just going to leave them in there for a minute because if we don't, they'll start turning a little yellowish purple. All right, I'll leave that over there. Let me clean my board off. The next thing we're going to do, chop up some of our chives. Just to give them a little yumminess. A little fresh color, although we're going to have lots of fresh color in there. Okay, cut those up. We're going to cut up cleavers. Let's see, might have to clean off some of these parts that I didn't get. It was raining, so they are clean. All right. If I see any more little brown parts, I'll pull them out as I'm cutting. There we go. I think that's good. All right. I would say roughly a cup or so. And I'll put the full recipe in the description below so y'all have it. And this is the first time I'm making this. And even though I have a recipe to follow, I'm not going to follow it completely. And the recipe doesn't have cleavers and chickweed in there. It has kale. I do have a little bit of spinach I'm going to add though to make the bulk up. Oh, one more little one. And I usually like this to be a lot finer. There we go. So nobody gets a big old piece of cleavers in their mouth. I'm going to also add in, remember that shepherd's purse? I'm going to put just a few of those little pods in there. Give it a little pepper. Put that in there. Chickweed. I guess I should have separated some of these out. It's all right if we get a flower or two in there. It's not going to hurt anything. All right. A little handful of chickweed. Get out of there, Forsythia. Okay. Put that in there, chop it up. I love chickweed. My favorite little green. So tasty. You can replace any recipe that calls for spinach or kale. You can put chickweed in. Even make like a chickweed and broccoli, cream of broccoli soup. With the chickweed, it's really good. And I do have a little bit of spinach. So I'm going to cut that. We don't want no big old hunks of spinach in our potato cake. Okay. my friend, Lorna, used to come down here, my best friend from childhood. And every time she would come, I would ask her to make me her grandma's potato cakes. They were just amazing. Potato pancakes. They were wonderful. And I don't know why I just never made them myself. She always made them. So every time she came, I had to have her make them for me. They were just so good, and she'd fry them up, and we'd put sour cream and applesauce on it. You know, some potato pancakes, I've made mashed potato pancakes, but the shredded ones, I guess they'd really be called latkes if you want to be technical. Her grandma was from Russia, Ukrainian Russia, and so yes, they did have latkes a lot. All right, there's all our greens. I'm going to bring over the lion's mane because I don't even think this is going to need to sit in the pan long. We're just going to put it in a hot pan, stir it around, and then I'll drain the potatoes and we'll be ready to make our potato pancakes. Look how nice the mushrooms look. So we added in our greens, mixing them up. Just letting the heat of the mushrooms wilt the greens. There we go. Isn't that pretty? Looks so good. We'll add some spices in a minute. So then I'm going to squeeze out these potatoes really good. Get all that water out. Did keep them from discoloring for the most part. There's a little bit in there. Got a little pink. Squeeze that all out. This could be a lot of potato pancakes. Get it all out of there. Look at that. Okay. There's a heck of a lot of potatoes. I think my bowl isn't even big enough for everything, but we're just going to make it work. So put that aside. Get all these potatoes off my hands. There's just potatoes everywhere. That's how I roll. Okay, so we're going to take this and we're going to dump it right in. Get it all in there nice. Put that aside. Then, this bowl, I'm going to need a bigger bowl, I think. I'm going to try to work with it. I got 2 eggs from my chickens. Put that in there. I'm going to do a good amount of salt because with potatoes, you have to salt it well. So I'm going to probably do, I would say about a teaspoon, maybe a little more. Okay, black pepper. Probably about a half a teaspoon. And then we need some panko breadcrumbs. I'm going to start with about a third of a cup. And then we'll see. Now we're just going to mix it up with our hands. Get in there really good. First, we're going to have to be a little gentle. Mixing it all around. There we go. To me, though, if I remember right, when my friend used to make this, she used to add a little bit of flour to it. So we're going to see how this mixes, how it holds together. That's the whole thing. It has to hold together good. Lord have mercy. If you can see the floor, the little pieces of mushrooms and potatoes are going everywhere. All right. Get all in there. Bet you never saw potato pancakes like this before. With lion's mane. With chickweed, cleavers, chives, shepherd's purse as our pepper, extra pepper. All right. Almost all mixed in. Eee. Like a little kid playing with my food. Always play with my food. All right. Let me make sure I have everything in there. Taters, breadcrumbs, onion, garlic, greens. Got it all in there, but I'm going to feel this. I think we need a little bit more breadcrumbs in there. Hold it together. Okay. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to wash my hands. Yeah, well, first I'm going to form a one to show you. Then I'm going to wash my hands, get the frying pan out, get some oil in it, and get it nice and hot, and use whatever oil you have. You could use grapeseed oil. Don't want to use olive oil. You could use avocado oil. If it's the light olive oil, you can, but or you can use a vegetable oil, canola oil, or something like that. I think I'm going to put these like in the little measuring cup, but I'm going to do about that size patty and fry them up. And we're going to fry them for about, I would say, 5 minutes on each side. Then they get nice and crispy. All right, I'll be back in a minute. So I got 4 of them in the pan so far, and I'm just flipping them. You have to be really careful flipping these guys so they don't fall apart. So we're going to get them turned over, and then I'm going to let them cook another 4 to 5 minutes. Ooh, that was a big guy. And then after those cook, I'm going to put the next ones in. But I did something a little bit different to these. I just want to see if they hold together a little bit more. I added just a little bit more panko on both sides. And so they seem to be a little bit firmer. But they look pretty good, wouldn't you say? Give it a few minutes and then be ready to eat soon. So once I get these all out, I'm going to let them just sit on a paper towel lined cooling rack. And then I'm going to make my salad and add some of those beautiful flowers. And so I'll show you all of that in just a few minutes. Are these not looking amazing? Look at them. So that was the second batch. Do you see how well they held together with the extra little panko? Get those beautiful greens coming out. They're almost done. This was the first batch, right? Second batch. I think I'm going to like the panko ones better. But of course, we're going to try both of them. So these things came out amazing. Look at them. But you see how fluffier these came out, the ones with the panko, than the ones that I flattened? So we'll see which ones we like better. So what I have here on my salad, I have some lettuce and some chickweed. And then I have my 3 lion's mane potato cakes. I'm going to add some flowers to my salad from the hen bit. I'm actually going to take the whole tops of each of the hen bits, or a few of them at least, and put it on. They're so pretty. All right, let's get one more. That one right there. And then a few of the forsythia blossoms. Because food should be pretty, shouldn't it? Doesn't need to be boring. And then some of the violets. I have a white violet. I got a blue violet. Another blue. A purple. And a white. Isn't that gorgeous? So then I'm just going to dress it lightly. I'm going to do some lemon. Just eyeball it. And a little bit of olive oil. And salt and pepper. Just a wee bit of pepper. And I'll mix it when I eat it. I don't want to get all messed up right now. And then for the potato cakes, I'm going to do some sour cream. I don't usually do much dairy, but with potato cakes, potato pancakes, I call them potato cakes, potato pancakes, you gotta have sour cream. It's just the way it is. Oh, before I do the sour cream, I also like a little bit of hot sauce. I'm going to put that on first. Otherwise, it won't look very pretty. Just a little bit. And then some sour cream. Do a dollop, and a dollop. Last is the rest of the chives. Just going to sprinkle those across the top. Look at that. Doesn't that look beautiful? Wild food. Wild food and domesticated food all together. So let's taste. Of course, I went for the one with the panko on it first. A little taste. It was a big taste. Mmm. I love potato pancakes. There's just something about them. They're so satisfying and comforting. And with the lion's mane in there, it just makes them even more creamy and flavorful. Delicious. Delicious. Let me just toss up my salad a wee bit. Take a bite with the flowers. Perfect. So there you go. Well, I hope you enjoyed this episode of Wild Eating with Forager Chicks. Have a wonderful day. So do remember, if you're out foraging for these foods, be sure 100% that you know exactly what you're picking before you eat anything. So find a local guide, a person that can help you identify the foods before you go ahead and eat them. We don't want anybody getting sick there. So make sure you can identify all your wild foods before you go ahead and start cooking and eating them. Have a great day.